It's the only language that was there when the world was created. It's the sacred language for Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, and etc. It has a rich tradition of grammar, poetry, drama, philosophy, astrology, astronomy, ancient science, mathematics, and etc. Do you know how Sanskritam evolved? Well, let me tell you. Vedic Sanskrit was given by God himself. Vedic Sanskrit includes the Vedas, Samhitas, Upanishads, Brahmanas, and etc. According to Westerners, classical Sanskrit was there at around 1000 BC, but per our scriptures, classical Sanskrit was there when Kali Yuga started. An example of classical Sanskrit is that classical Sanskrit includes Puranas, Itihasas, and various other works. Is Sanskrit still being used? What do you guys think about Sanskrit? It's old, right? In the scientific world today, is Sanskrit still relevant? English has everything. We don't use Sanskrit now. There's so many languages that we use. Let's ask Dr. Dia for her opinion. Dia?
Diakana, you're not audible. Dia, you're not audible, Kana.
Radhe Radhe, my name is Dia. I am in Toronto, Canada, and I'm in grade 3.
Are you audible?
Are you audible?
Yes.
And I'm in grade 3. So Sharda, to answer to your question, I would like to tell you this history of how Sanskrit gave the origin to other languages. So when I was writing my book, I found out that the Manusmriti says the kings of Bharatavarsha went to other countries. Because of this, Sanskrit became the origin and the base of other languages. The Devanagari script is used in Sanskrit. The Devanagari script is used in many other Indian languages. You said that English has everything. Well, did you know that English also took the source from Sanskrit? Now I'm going to give you an example. So we have all heard the names Adam and Eve. Well, did you know where it came from? It all came from our Bhavishya Purana from the names Adama and Havyavati. The Sanskrit language is so large, for example, there are 250 words to describe rainfall itself. Isn't that amazing? Even in the present day, Sanskrit is largely used to sing the glories of the god. These are few words in English and Tamil that have the source from Sanskrit, and the word matru, mother, that has taken the source from Sanskrit in other many international languages. I hope you agree. Radhe Radhe. And now Varsha will continue.
Varsha?
Unmute, Varsha, unmute.
Radhe Radhe. My name is Varsha. I'm in 4th grade and I live in Dallas, Texas. I play the role of the mathematician who will discuss the influence of Sanskrit in mathematics. Any classical sciences of India must begin with mathematics. Like the crest on the peacock's head, like the gem on the crowbar's hood, so stands mathematics at the head of all sciences. The Sanskrit word used for mathematics in this verse is Ganita, which means reckoning. India's contribution to math is 0? Yes, that's because it was the great Indian mathematician Aryabhatta who invented the number 0. It is believed the fundamentals of number theory originated from India. His work, the Aryabhatiya, is one of the great astronomical mathematical classics of the world. We all know about pi. Let me tell you more about it. In the Vedas, there is a hymn to Krishna. Gopi Bhagya Muduvrata Shingaso Tata Sandika Kala Jivita Katava Kala Hala Rasandara. In this poem, every sound in Sanskrit is a number and each sound has a numerical value from 0 to 9, which is the Katapadi Sankhya. When calculated using this system, a very significant number appeared, which is the exact number of pi divided by 10. Apart from numbers, algebraic equations may have also come from India, namely use of symbols, arithmetical operations, trigonometric functions, and even ideas of calculus. For the American historian Durant, India has contributed a lot to the West, the most important of them being the numerals and the decimal system. This slide shows the timeline of how the modern-day numerals have been derived from the ancient scripts several centuries ago. Now you see how much Sanskritam has contributed to mathematics. Now Meenakshi will continue.
Radhe Radhe, my name is Meenakshi and I'm from Dallas, Texas, and I'm in grade 4. As a computer scientist, I needed a language that would best suit computer programming. I need a language that has the most logical grammar, words with precise meaning, and it needs to be able to handle complex real-life scenarios. I studied many of the world's languages. Can you guess which language is my choice? It's our own Sanskrit. The reason why I chose Sanskrit is because the number of alphabets in English are 26, and you can easily get confused with Rama and Rama. But in Sanskrit, there are two groups of alphabets. There's 15 in Svaraha and 33 in Vyanjanani. In this way, you won't easily get confused with the words that are written the same like Rama and Rama. Another reason why I chose Sanskrit is because in English, there's singular and plural. For example, for singular, there's garland, and for plural, there's garlands. But in Sanskrit, there's singular, dual, and plural. For singular, there's mala. For dual, there's male. And for more than two objects, there's malaha. In Sanskrit, there's a derivational process, so there's no ambiguity. You can explain every single word structurally, and Sanskrit's rule-based approach is its biggest plus point. And Sanskrit has every single component to derive any word based on the functionality of the object. Now, Sharada, what do you think about Sanskrit?
Now I understand more about Sanskrit. I agree that I should learn Sanskrit better. Thank you, Ramuji, for taking your time to listen to our presentations. Thank you, E-Gopa Kuttiram teachers, for teaching us greatly. And thank you, Atlanta Satsang, for listening to our presentation.
Thank you, friends, for your wonderful presentation. Please stop your screen share, and Ramuji, can you please address our children?
Oh, sure. We had Sharada, Diya, Varsha, and Meenakshi take us through very beautifully. They already became computer scientists, mathematicians, and scientists here. So it was very nice, and it was also shown very nicely by all the 4 children. The sweetness and greatness of Sanskrit. Our Swamiji always encourages all of us to learn Sanskrit, not only for our spiritual uplift, but it also will help us in applying that in our chosen field of work in future. So Sharada, Diya, Varsha, and Meenakshi did a lovely job of introducing us to Sanskrit. Some of the stuff which they showed was a learning experience for me also. So hats off to all the 4 lovely children and the teachers, obviously, and the parents. And the presentation was also very slick and very contemporary. Very well done. Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you so much, Ramuji. Radhe Radhe. Now we welcome our second batch, Medicine, Shushruta and Timeline. Shushruta Samhita and Timeline. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. We are the New Jersey team. I am Kannan. I am in 6th grade.
And I'm Sumedha from 5th grade. And I'm Danya from 3rd grade.
Our project is Sushruta Samhita. Sushruta was the first known surgeon to perform surgical operations. Though the exact date of when he lived cannot be determined, it is believed that he lived anywhere between 800 BC to 600 BC. That means that Sushruta would have lived at least 150 years before Hippocrates, who was considered the father of modern medicine. Sushruta lived in the ancient Indian city of Kasi, also known as Varanasi, which is part of Uttar Pradesh in modern India. Varanasi is on the banks of the river Ganges. Sushruta vividly described the basic principles of surgery in his ancient book of medicine, Sushruta Samhita. The book was written in Vedic Sanskrit. Next slide, please. Sushruta Samhita, which is one of the oldest texts dealing with surgery in the world, indicates that Sushruta was the first surgeon to perform surgical operations. The book presents a historical window into various contributions of Sushruta to surgery and allied fields which were described in the book. Sushruta, in his 184 chapter treatise, Sushruta Samhita, describes the ancient tradition of surgery in Indian medicine. It is considered as one of the most brilliant gems in Indian medical literature. This text contains detailed descriptions of teachings and practice of the great ancient Indian surgeon Sushruta, which has considerable surgical knowledge of relevance even today. The translation of the book to Arabic and the spread of the Persian Empire is believed to have made the techniques known to other countries. Next slide, please. The Sushruta Samhita contains descriptions of 1,120 illnesses, 700 medicinal plants, 64 preparations from mineral sources, human body, surgery and tools, and 57 preparations based on animal sources. There are numerous contributions made by Sushruta to the field of surgery. Surgical demonstration of techniques of making incisions, probing, extraction of foreign bodies, alkali, thermal catheterization, tooth extraction, and more. Catheterization is a medical practice or technique to remove or close off a part of a body. The book also details such advanced techniques like rhinoplasty that was practiced by Sushruta. Rhinoplasty is a technique of transforming a person's facial features. The book also describes surgical tools in great detail, and the pictures on this slide show some of the tools that are talked about in the book. Sumedha, Danya, can you please continue?
Exact timing of when Sushruta was in this world. Predictions include a range from 1000 BCE, 800 to 600 BCE, 600 BCE, 600 to 200 BCE, 200 BCE, 1 to 100 CE, and 500 CE. The timeline of this ancient scripture has been different from many points of view. Today, we can only roughly estimate the timelines based on references in several other ancient books around the world. In 1200 to 600 BCE, the ancient text Buddhist Jatakas mentions Sushruta to be a physician who taught in the school in Kashi in parallel to another school in the town of Taxila. In the 2nd century, the Sushruta Samhita was updated by the Buddha scholar by the name of Nagarjuna. From the 3rd to 5th century, it is most likely that Sushruta Samhita was known to Diridaba, who added the final chapter, Uttara Tantra, which is the latest version and has gone into our modern age. In the 8th century, Sushruta Samhita was translated from Sanskrit to the language of Arabic. From the 5th to 15th century, also known as the medieval age, the Arabic translation got to the continent of Europe. In the 12th century, the major commentary known as Nibandha Samgraha was written by the author of Dalhana. Danya, I heard you knew a few things about the modern references. Can you share a few?
Sure. In 1794, British physicians traveled to India to observe rhinoplasty being performed using native methods. Our reports on Indian rhinoplasty were published in the Gentleman's Magazine in 1794. In 1840, Joseph Constantine studied plastic surgery methods in India for 20 years, and in 1815 was able to perform the first major rhinoplasty surgery in the Western world, using the Indian method of nose reconstruction. In 1840, Brett published an article about this technique. In 1907 to 1916, the first English copy was written by Kaviraj Kunjalal, published in 3 volumes. In 1999, Dalhana's commentaries were published in English. In conclusion, the Sushruta Samhita goes in detail and explains many important topics in medicine like surgery. It was very advanced for its time. This book, written in 16 BC by the great Indian surgeon Sushruta, this is indeed a great source of pride and inspiration for India and the rest of the world, mainly because it talks about the life-saving topics which are very advanced for its time, but are still in use today. Radhe Radhe. Ramuji, thank you for watching this presentation.
Thank you so much, Danya and Sumedha. Ramuji, can you please address our children?
Yeah, Radhe Radhe. Our Kannan and Sumedha and Danya from New Jersey, New York area made a lovely presentation about the ancient and the modern aspects of medicine. And it was very inspiring to see how deep they have gone into research. And it almost looks like a very scholarly article where instead of showing just this is the timeline, they have taken pains to actually analyze the very sources of information to substantiate the timeline. And Kannan did a lovely introduction of Sushruta's background, that he belonged to Kashi, and he actually made a lovely compilation of about 1,120 illnesses and all that stuff, which was very interesting and important information for people like us who take pride in the Indian tradition. And Sumedha did a scholarly presentation of the timeline. I think it's very important, because generally the Western people would like to always push a timeline to such a time that they want to show only after they developed this, that it went to India. So it's important that we preserve these timelines. Sumedha made a lovely presentation on that. And then Danya wrapped it up very nicely to talk about the modern, how the modern scientists and the medical experts have used Indian methods, including rhinoplasty. தமிழ்ல சொல்லணும்னா வெஸ்டர்ன் மெடிசின் தான் ரொம்ப பெருசுன்னு சொல்றதுக்கு ஒரு நோஸ் கட்டு நம்ம தான் கொடுக்கணும் இல்லையா? So we reconstructed the nose and showed them that this is how you actually regain back your pride in medicine from India. Very nice. All the 3 gave a very beautiful representation on medicine, and it was very, very sharp, very fact-based, and truly professional. So very, very wonderful. I'm very happy to hear their presentation also. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Ramuji. Thank you so much. Now we welcome our next batch, Education in Vedic Age vs Modern Age. So they are going to compare the education and educational techniques. Radhe Radhe, you can start now.
Harshita, can you start?
Harshita, you need to unmute first.
Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe Ramoji. Today we're going to present our presentation on education which is Vedic versus modern education. We made a timeline to distinguish the education between Vedic age and modern age. To this presentation, there are 3 parts: Vedic education in Vedic age, Middle Age, and Modern Age. Vedic age is done by me. My name is Harshita. Middle age is done by Madhuri, and modern age is done by Vedashruti. First, let's start with Vedic age. I'm Harshita, and I'm from Fort Mill, South Carolina. In 1500 BC, education was based on 4 Vedas, and the 4 Vedas are Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharvana Veda. And in 1400 BC, education included grammar, composition, reasoning, sciences, the skills in nature, and etc. In 1200 BC, education was free for all, and the Vedas asserted that the concentration should be on the mind. And in 1028 BC, the main objective of education was to build character. Character education is a term used to describe the teaching of children in a manner that will help them develop variously as moral, civic, good, mannered, behaved, non-bullying, healthy, critical, successful, traditional, compliant, or socially acceptable beings. In 934 BC, education of religion, literature, philosophy, medicine, warfare, drama, statecraft, astrology, history, poetry, and etc. was imparted to the Gurukuls. And 778 BC, education in the philosophy of the Vedas say that the teacher should have faith in the inherent potential of the student. And now Madhuri will continue.
Radhe Radhe, my name is Madhuri Murali. I am from Glen Ellen, Virginia, and I will be presenting Education in Middle Age. From year 500 to 1600, higher education was imparted at world-renowned universities. Takshashila, Nalanda, Vikramashila, Ujjain, and Ujjain. These universities produced eminent scholars. Subjects taught in these universities: art, architecture, painting, logic, mathematics, grammar, philosophy, astronomy, literature, Buddhism, Hinduism, Arthashastra, which is economics and politics, law, and medicine. Teachers use discourses and debates to teach the subjects. In year 590, Takshashila University was established. Takshashila was a noted center of learning. It attracted students from all around the world. Takshashila was specialized in the study of medicine. In year 684, Nalanda University was established. Nalanda is one of the first great universities on earth. When it was in its fame, it had 10,000 students, 2,000 staffs. It's the biggest university in Middle Age. It handled all branches of education. In year 832, Vikramacharya University was established. It was one of the largest Buddhist universities. It had more than 100 teachers and 1,000 students. Buddhism was mainly taught in this university. In year 1068, Ujjain University was established. It was a major center for astronomical research. They used algebra to solve astronomical problems. From year 1200 to 1700, writing skills were improved. Unani medicine was introduced. Rise of private tuition. Different teaching methods for different subjects were used. Demonstration, experiment, and practice methods were adapted in teaching. Now it is Vedashruti's turn.
Radhe Radhe. I'm Vedashruti Rajesh. I'm in 3rd grade and I live in Glen Ellen, Virginia. I will be talking about education in modern age. In the year of 1700, British records show that indigenous education was widespread in India in the 18th century. Subjects such as reading, writing, arithmetic, theology, law, metaphysics, astronomy, ethics, medical science, and religion were taught. In the year of 1800, education was widespread for boys. Subjects such as reading, writing, arithmetic, metaphysics, ethics, medical science, religion, and theology were taught. During the colonial rule, Western education was introduced by the British. They started declining the traditional structures because it wasn't recognized by them. In the year of 1940, in 1947, after gaining independence from Britishers, education became the responsibility of states and the central government. They coordinated the technical and higher education by specifying the standards. In the year of 2011, the Indian education system was divided into levels. The levels were pre-primary, primary, elementary, secondary, undergraduate, and postgraduate. Education was made free for all children from ages 6 to 14 years under the Right of Children for Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009. 2011 continued. The Indian higher education system was third largest in the world after China and the USA. According to the census of 2011, the natural literacy rate was around 74%. Thank you, Ramuji, for listening patiently to our presentation. And also thank you for all of the viewers who watched our presentation. And thank you for all of our E-Gopa Kutiram teachers for supporting us with this presentation. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, thank you so much. Radhe Radhe, Ramuji.
Another very interesting topic about education, and it was within 5 minutes they gave a very beautiful nutshell of how education developed in our Bharat, in our India. Harshita talked about the Vedic education during the ancient times, which was very interesting and very revealing. She covered from 1500 BC and how from just purely Vedic education developed into all the allied sciences, arts, etc. It was very well researched and very well presented by Harshita. Well done, Harshita. It was a lovely presentation. And then Madhuri took over from Harshita to talk about medieval education. And the high point were the two important universities, Takshashila and Nalanda. And Madhuri also had done lovely research to tell what were all taught in these universities, how many teachers were there. An interesting fact she showed was the teacher-student ratio was close to 10. And I think nowadays that's a very good recognized number, that between 8 to 11 is a good teacher-to-student ratio. And she brought that point very beautifully, again very well presented and very well represented by Madhuri. Well done, Madhuri. And then we had a paradox here, Veda Shruti talking about modern education. And Veda Shruti is a Vedic time, and she chose to do a modern education, showing that both can come together. And she very beautifully brought right up to this century, this decade. She showed how Indian education was very widespread, and British, they came and put their stenography education on Indians, and they recognized this mass education of people to suit their needs. And how after independence, India very beautifully restructured the education, and how in the recent past education has been made free to even small kids. Very well presented, very well researched, and very nicely she the three gave only the important points here, and they gave us the essence of maybe I think 3 or 4 days of work we got as a treat. For only a few minutes we are able to get the essence, and I congratulate all the three delightfully presented about education, and they spanned at least 3,000 4,000 years of education in about 3 or 4 minutes. Very well done. Well done.
Thank you so much, Ramuji. Now we welcome our last team, medicine and Shushruta Samhita and advancements in different continents. So the first batch presented the timeline, and this batch is going to present the advancement in different continents. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. We are 4 world-renowned scientists who met at the International Convention for Medical and Surgical Advancements. And because of common interest in Sushruta Samhita, we decided to meet on Zoom to discuss it further. Sushruta is an ancient Indian physician who lived in the 6th century BC. He is recognized as the father of modern medicine and surgery. Even today, physicians and scientists like us refer to and quote from the Sushruta Samhita, Sushruta's book, to support their research. Radhe Radhe. I'm Aparna Prabhakar. I am in 6th grade. I'm from San Jose, California. Sushruta was an expert in surgery. He has written elaborately on fracture management, including describing in minute detail how to perform prosthetic surgery. Today, Asia has made tremendous progress in fitting patients with artificial limbs to maintain an independent lifestyle. Surgery has become easier with robots to lend a helping hand, or a few. Did you know Sushruta excels in the art of dissecting human cadavers or corpses in order to gain a deep understanding of the human anatomy? He made his students practice on gourds and other vegetables. Even today, medical students practice a lot before actually dissecting a human body, but they use advanced technology like computer simulations. For the last century, Asia has invested aggressively in medical research to improve health and longevity of people in developing countries. Asia, especially India, has made progress in research in diagnosing and treating cancer, diabetes, and also in biotechnology, to name a few. Sushruta was a master healer in using herbs, plants, and extracts from vegetable and animal sources to create medicines. In his work, Sushruta extols the benefits of clean living and good habits. In Madhurapuri Ashram, Sri Guruji has planted a garden called Premka Vardhan Herbal Garden. It has rare herbs and plants, including earth rooting for treating cancer. It is very beautiful, so if you are in India, that is a good travel destination. Now, Krishna Prasad Ram will continue with his highly proficient knowledge on Europe. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, I'm Krishna Prasad Ram. I'm 11 years old. I'm in 6th grade. I live in Redding, California. My topic today is on Sushruta Samhita, advancements in the continent of Europe. So Aparna, you were talking about advancements in Asia, but there's advancement in Europe too. Let me show you. The Arabic translation of Sushruta Samhita reached Europe by the end of the medieval period. The book you see there is a story behind it. In 1794, Thomas Crusoe and James Finley, when they visited India, they witnessed a surgery done by a potter, not Harry Potter, a real potter, and they published it in the Gentleman's Magazine of London. And now, even in the present state of the art, we still rely heavily on the same techniques as handed down for thousands of years by Sushruta. When it comes to Ayurveda, the EAA, European Ayurvedic Association, and the WHO, World Health Organization, is committed to the recognition of Ayurveda as a medicine in Europe. Ayurvedic is increasing in countries like Germany, Austria, Switzerland, France, Czech Republic, Greece, and more. The building you see here is Maharishi Ayurveda. There's one in Germany and even one in Lancaster, Massachusetts, pretty close to where Rekha-ji lives, and all over the world. Hessler and Muller, when they visited India, translated ancient texts of Sushruta Samhita into cranial and spinal surgery, which transformed into neurological surgery, with the introduction of anesthesia and asepsis. This is what you see in the picture where surgery is being done after adopting asepsis in surgery. So I understand from my research about advancement in Europe in any medical field is basically has a strong root of our ancient India. Hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you. I'll pass it on to Govind. Radhe Radhe.
Hello, I am Govind and I am going to be talking about Sushruta Samhita advancement in Africa. As you said, Krishna Prasad, that is very good information, but I want to show you that Africa is no less. Africa mainly advances in the natural medicines as herbs and plants, flowers, and seeds. Here are some surgical procedures commonly used in Africa that are mainly taken from Sushruta Samhita. Rhinoplasty is a surgery to fix the mutilated nose in Africa. It is also adopted from Sushruta Samhita. Here is a rotation graft, which is a type of skin grafting procedure in Africa where they move your skin from one place to another. The sliding graft is also a process of moving skin when they take a part of a patient's healthy skin, they mesh it, and then they put it over a burn or a severely injured part of skin. This is the cataract surgery. A cataract was when your eye's lens gets clouded and blurry, like you could see on the picture on the right. Well, after they take out the cataract, your lens should look like this on the left. Sushruta also knew very good understanding of heart and blood. Some of it includes cardiology, which is a knowledge gained from Sushruta Samhita. Another knowledge gained from them is a field of pharmacology, which means medicine and pharmacy. Sushruta knew a lot of medicines that could help the known world right now. We still have Ayurveda courses to offer in Africa, like some universities in South Africa. And at the end, I have to say, all of this you have to do exercise, diet, and good health, and it can give you a good outcome. Radhe Radhe. I'll hand it off to Krishna Prasad Shankar.
Krishna Prasad Shankar, you can start now.
Advancements in the Americas. Because opposite Singapore creates the California. This is only the advancements in the Americas. As with advancements in the should be areas of municipal associations data ancient Sangita alternative movies and European and the American field of the acceptance groups stage therapy student of diseases books in 2000 with the administration of the device therapy compliance and disease treatment approaches medical surgery Chemotherapy can be a stop microsurgery within later times can uses in a non-invasive manner This is mucho this when you say shoot is Mika. This is good that you know and good. Also, it's just to make it so good. You will chicken. So this good. It's inconsistent. And same mix. Honey and some therapeutic questions. Opposite and management of chaos. Populations and highlight big questions. No. American Hydrotherapy Association has been conducting hydrotherapy is used to feeding pets to sexual ophthalmology. Sexual disability. Chapters devoted to health and described some six. One occur the diseases in which required surgery was not able to see surgery by continuing that surgical facility was lacking. Human had wasted almost surgical instrument such as how to gain surgeons and medical surgeons to create the borders of medical knowledge. Instead of intervention at surgical manuals that relate to complications such considers the patient as a whole. So should have provide tests on everything blind patients with surgical facilities with a taking resolution and ability to live independently. American academic knowledge is becoming an expression by social go then that social and the jungle lectures at the University of West Virginia and University in Thank you for listening and watching. This is the guy.
Thank you so much, Krishna Prasad. Now I pass on to Ramuji. Krishna Prasad, can you? Okay. Now I pass on to Ramuji. Can you please address our children, Ramuji?
Very nice. We had another 4 medical experts meeting virtually and talk about the medicinal developments in 4 continents. Our Aparna started with very beautifully talking about how Sushruta addressed some complicated issues with bone and fractures and how to practice it and how living and how healthy living is the basis of everything. And she very beautifully concluded with our Premika Vardhan Herbal Garden, which is Narayanji's father's project. So it was very nicely compiled by Aparna to talk about how Sushruta helped in generally, I think rhinoplasty stood out as something which was common to most of the research done by our Gopakutiram kids. She added that it also it also influenced the various treatments of fractures, etc. Very well done, Aparna. You really put a lot of effort on this. It was obvious in the way you presented it. And then our Redding Krishna Prasad talked about how Sushruta's influence in Europe, and how some of the surgeries were all influenced by Sushruta's Samhita, and more notedly some universities on Ayurveda. And coming from a son of a doctor, it is very significant that he has underlined Ayurveda as a very important way of life, which was again influenced by Sushruta Samhita. Our California Govind talked about even Africa was helped. The medical experts in Africa used grafting for transplanting skin, and also cardiology and pharmacology, which was not explored by others. So it was an additional point he brought in about pharmacology. And he also has done a very lovely job in analyzing, reading, absorbing, and presenting it beautifully. Well done, Govind. And our Krishna Prasad of San Francisco, he very beautifully brought in a new therapy. It was unheard by me before, iridotherapy, using leeches, and also the couching method of ophthalmology. Again, it was very nicely presented by our Krishna Prasad there. And all the four of them have done a very lovely job in doing a little in-depth analysis of the influence of our Sushruta Samhita in Indian medicine in the four continents. Very well done. Excellent. Very scholarly. Very good.
Thank you so much, Ramuji. Now we welcome our batch 2 students. So till now we saw batch 1 students. Now we welcome our batch 2 students. These students are going to present their topics individually for 3 minutes. I welcome Meera to do her topic. Radhe Radhe, Meera.
Radhe Radhe. My name is Samira Srinivas. I am 11 years old from San Jose, California, and today I will talk about Digama Kalpatarur. I have chosen this topic because last year I had done a Veda tree based on Nigama Kalpatarur with Ramaji last year. Nigama Kalpatarur is a slokam from Srimad Bhagavatam, and Srimad Bhagavatam has been written by sage Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa is a form of Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu had come down. He had written the Bhagavatam, and after which the Srimad Bhagavatam is our 18th Purana. He has given us 108 Upanishads. He has also given us one of the Itihasas, Mahabharata. Sage Vedavyasa's son, Sage Shukar, has also spread Srimad Bhagavatam. Now let's take a look at this sloka. What is Nigama Kalpatarur? Nigama Kalpatarur is a Veda tree. Now let's take a look at the sloka. Nigama Kalpatarur Galitam Palam Shakumukat Amrita Drava Samyutam Pibada Bhagavatam Rasamanayum Muraho Rasikaha Bhuvi Sage Vedavyasa Sage Shukar tells the listeners to drink and enjoy again and again the fruit of Bhagavatam, which is juicy and consists of nectarine droplets, which has descended in this world from the Kalpaka tree. Kalpaka tree means wish-yielding tree in the form of the Vedas, and which has slipped from the mouth of Sage Shukar. Now let's take a look at the Veda tree. What are the Vedas? Well, the Vedas are the supreme authority. Vedas originated from the gods. And what does Vedas mean? Vedas mean knowledge. Vedas are also known as the wish-fulfilling tree. And as you look at this diagram, the roots are the four Vedas: Atharvana Veda, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, and Sama Veda. Then you look at the branches. There are the 6 Veda Angas: Kalpa, Siksha, Chandas, Niruktam, Jyotisam, and Vyakaranam. And the fruits there, the 18 fruits, represent the 18 Puranas. Now let's take a look at what this sloka means. Nigama kalpataror galitam palam. Nigama refers to Vedas, and kalpataror is kalpaka tree. The juicy fruit of Veda tree is Shrimad Bhagavatam. It is so juicy, sweet, and seedless that one has to just drink it. And Bhagavatam is just the juicy fruit that is obtained from the tree of Vedas. And this is just not any tree, but the wish-yielding tree, Kalpataru. And Vedas contain everything: Vedanta, Yoga, Shrutis, Smritis, etc. You name it. Bhagavatam is the fruit of that tree. And normally when we have fruits, there are parts of the fruit that we tend to discard, like the seeds, skin. But it is said that the divine fruit of Shrimad Bhagavatam is so juicy, sweet, and seedless that one has to just drink it. It specifically says pibata, which means to only drink. And it also goes to show that there is no effort required on our part to even consume this fruit, that it is so tasty, full of nectarine droplets. Now let's take a look at what the next part of this sloka means. Sugar mukad amrita drava samyutam. Who is Shukar? Shukar is none other than the son of sage Vedavyasa. And Shukar means parrot. Just as a parrot repeats exactly what has been told to it without changing a single word of it. This beautiful parrot, Sage Sukha, has also reproduced Bhagavatam without missing out on anything. Just as a fruit that has been pecked by a parrot is considered delicious, there is no doubt that this fruit of Srimad Bhagavatam that is pecked and tasted by Sage Shukam is the most delicious of all fruits in all the worlds. Somehow a parrot comes to the most ripened and most juiciest fruit. It is the holy Uchishta of this great saint, Sage Shuka. Now let's take a look at this next part of the slokam. Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayum muraho rasikaha bhuvi bhavukaha. Rasa can mean juice or essence. We typically get tired of eating fruits over and over again. But this nectar of Bhagavatam can be relished over and over again, and you'll never get bored of it. So who then are the adhikaris for Bhagavatam? And what are adhikaris? Adhikaris are people who enjoy Bhagavatam. And it is none other than the Rasikas. And who are Rasikas then? Rasikas are people who enjoy Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is full of Krishna Katha and stories of great Bhagavatas. Arshi Swamiji says,
திரும்பி 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 எவ்வளவு தரம் உன்னால பகவத்குணத்தை சிரவணம் பண்ண முடியுமோ சிரவணம் பண்ணிண்டே.
Arshi Swami says we should keep on listening to Bhagavatam over and over again, but we'll never get bored of it. Thank you, Shri Ramanujim and the EGK teachers for watching, and all the students watch. There's a quick conclusion about this slokam. All trees give some fruit, and the fruit of Veda tree is Srimad Bhagavatam. And the fruit is very tasty because it was told by Sage Shukar. And what does Shukar mean? It means parrot. The parrot always tastes the most ripened fruit, which is best to be relished. Similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is filled with so much rasa. Just like how a fruit is an essence of a tree, Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of Vedas. Thank you, Sri Ramanujim, for watching. And thank you for my EGK teachers and all the EGK students watching. I hope you guys have all understood a little bit about Bhagavatam. Let us take a look at the other aspects of Srimad Bhagavatam from my other EGK friends. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. And our Meera ji from California has talked about the rasa of our Rasomaya sloka in a Rasomaya way. And a special thanks to Meera for giving the clipping of our Swamiji's lovely voice on Vaikunta Ekadasi. Meera did a lovely in-depth study of the sloka, and she also understood the sloka nicely, grasped the meaning, and she has also presented it beautifully. And kudos to Meera for a lovely presentation. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Ramuji. Now we go on for the next presentation by Madhu. Radhe Radhe, Madhu. Madhu, you're not audible. Mathura?
Yeah, unmute.
Yes, start.
Radhe Radhe, Ramuji, and my name is Madhura Sriram. I am 9 years old and I'm in 4th grade. Today I will be talking about 5-year-old devotees from Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many 5-year-old devotees mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, of which I will be talking about the Sanakadis, Dhruva, Prahlada, and Narada. Sanakadis. The Sanakadis will always be 5 years old as per Srimad Bhagavatam, and they are mind-born children of Brahma. One day, the Sanakadis went to Vaikuntha, and they were stopped by Jaya and Vijaya, the guards, because Narayana was taking rest. Then the Sanakadis got really angry and cursed or blessed the guards, saying that they will have to be born as Asura brothers 3 times on earth, and each time they will be rescued by Narayana and will be brought back to Vaikuntha. Because of this blessing of the Sanakadis, Jaya and Vijaya were born on earth, and this resulted in great avatars of Bhagavan like Varaha, Narasimha, Rama, and Krishna, and great devotees like Prahlad. Dhruva. Dhruva was only 5 years old when he saw Bhagavan. Though he wasn't born with jnana, he was a great example of a person who saw Bhagavan because of a worldly desire. One day, Dhruva and his stepbrother Uttama were playing, and then Uttama went and sat on their father Uttanapada's lap. Dhruva also wanted to sit on his father's lap, so he went, but Suruchi, his stepmother, forcefully pulled him and scolded him and told him that he had to be her son and not his mother Suniti's to sit on his father's lap. Dhruva, on the way to the forest, met Narada, and Narada became his guru and gave him Upadesa. Dhruva went to the forest and chanted Vasudeva Nama and did severe penance for 6 months. Narayana finally appeared before him, and Dhruva sang the beautiful Dhruva Stuti. Prahlada. Prahlada was a born Bhagavata. He was 5 years old when his main events in his life happened, as per Srimad Bhagavatam. He was a great devotee of Narayana and the son of an Asura, Hiranyakashipu, who hated Bhagavan because Bhagavan had killed his brother Hiranyaksha. Prahlada, being a devotee of Narayana, made Hiranyakashipu really angry. Hiranyakashipu tried to kill Prahlada many times but failed. Finally, Hiranyakashipu asked Prahlada if Narayana was in a certain pillar, as he had made the pillar with his own hands. Narasimha wasn't sure which pillar that Hiranyakashipu would point to, so he went into every single pillar to make his devotees' words true, because Prahlada said that he saw Narayana in the pillar. Hiranyakashipu hit the pillar with his mace, and Lord Narasimha came out and killed Hiranyakashipu. This 5-year-old Prahlada was made king of the Lord's devotees. Narada. Before Narada became the Narada that we know now, he was a 5-year-old boy. One day, some sadhus came to his village. His mother did lots of kainkaryam to the sadhus, while Narada sat with the sadhus as they reminisced the leelas of Narayana. He got very upset when the sadhus left the village. Later, his mother died, leaving him all by himself. Once, when he was in dhyana, Narayana appeared before him for just a split second and said that in his next janma, he will actually become Narada and he will always be singing Narayana's name and be very close to him. In summary, Bhagavatam shows us that there are bhaktas as young as 5 years old who got darshana of the Lord with their love and devotion. Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Ramuji, for taking your time to be here, and my EGK teachers, and all the Atlanta devotees for watching this.
Another lovely presentation from Madhura, who picked the theme of 5-year-olds in Srimad Bhagavatam. Very beautifully, she gave a summary based on our Swamiji's lectures, and she also underlined some very subtle points which only our Swamiji has mentioned. And she has covered Dhruva, Prahallada, Sanakadi Rishis, and also Narada when he was 5 years old. Very, very sweet presentation. Lot of lovely presentation skills have come into it with the opening of the screen and slowly merging one slide with another. Very lovely work done with tremendous rasa and done with tremendous attention. Well done, Madhura. It was a treat to all of us. Radhe Radhe.
Thank you, Ramuji. Now we welcome our next friend, Science in Bhagavatam.
Gopika Jeevan Smaranam Govinda Govinda Satkaranath Maharaj Ki Jai. Radhe Radhe, my name is Ritvik Raman. I'm 13 years old. I'm in 8th grade and I'm from Richmond, Virginia. What is the Srimad Bhagavatam? The Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the 18 Puranas. Therefore, it is known as the Bhagavata Purana, and is considered to be the essence of all the Vedas. So if you compare the Vedas to a tree, the Bhagavatam is the essence of the tree. So take Hanuman Chalisa and Vishnu Sahasranamam, for example. In the end of both of them, there's always a Parastriti, and that's the essence of the entire thing. And if you translate that into English, it's Param. Param means fruit, as that sloka is a fruit of the entire thing. And similarly, Srimad Bhagavatam is the fruit of the Vedas. Science in Bhagavatam. So science is well incorporated into the Bhagavatam. I will be talking about the length units of measurement, how time is explained in the Bhagavatam, and how we know about the globe theory before the Greek philosophers, and how children in the womb can hear while being in the womb. So measurement. So the standard in measurement that was mentioned in the Bhagavatam is the yojana, and that is converted to 8.59 miles. In one yojana, there are 32,000 hastas. And if you break that furthermore, it's one hasta is 432 millimeters. And the distance that Sri Hanuman flew from Lanka to India was 100 yojanas, or 859 miles. So there are some certain numbers that are significant in our Sanatana Dharma, like 9, 18, 108, 432, and many more. And you can see that there are 432 millimeters in one hasta. And you can see many more stuff happening like that. So next is time. So Shukramani was explaining to Parikshit about all of this. He started off by explaining what a Chatur Yuga is. He explains that a Chatur Yuga is broken down into 4 yugas, or time period. The first one is Satya Yuga, then Treta Yuga, then Dwapar Yuga, then Kali Yuga. And and then you can see back to the significant numbers. If you add up the digits of each of the yugas, you get 9, which is another very significant number. And then there are 432,000 years in Kali Yuga. That's another significant number. And then when you add up all the years for all 4 yugas, you get 4,320,000 years in one Chaturyuga. And that's 432 coming again. So you can see how some numbers just keep on coming. So then later on he explains how 71 Chaturyugas is 1 Manvantaram. And if you Manvantaram is equivalent to the time it takes for the sun to orbit around the galaxy. And then only recently there's been a study that NASA just calculated the time it takes for the sun to go to orbit the galaxy. And it's kind of surprising how we found it so many, like thousands and thousands of years ago, and NASA, who's a great science company, is just calculated it. So moving on, 14 Manvantaram is 1 Kalpa. And can anyone guess like how long 1 Kalpa is in Brahma's life? Maybe a month, a year, maybe a decade? Well, actually, 1 Kalpa is just 1 day of Brahma. And that in our life is around 4,294,080,000 years. So he lives a really long life. And then Srimad Bhagavatam mentions the elliptical shape of our world well before Aristotle and Copernicus and the rest of them. In the 5th canto, the word Bhuvalasya is mentioned, and that is the name of the elliptical figure of our world. And it is spoken in 5th canto, 21st chapter and 19th sloka. And the second word is Jambudvipa, and that's the Sanskrit name of our globe. And that's mentioned in the 1st canto, the 12th chapter and the 5th sloka. And moving on to pseudo words. So pseudo words are certain words that look like a word, but they're not really in any language. Like you can see examples of like lake. They're not words, but they look like words. Like if you don't know English, that might look like a word. There's a recent scientific discovery that children in their mother's womb can hear sounds from out the womb. And it's kind of ironic how they just figured it out like recently, but then our Bhagavatam had already figured it out thousands of years ago. And you can see that mentioned in our Prahalada Charitram. Like while he was in the womb, it was said that he could hear Narada Muni explaining and extolling the glories of Bhagavan to Prahalada's mother while Prahalada was in her womb. So you can see how the Bhagavatam they already knew before the scientific discovery that recently happened. So you can see like all of this measurement, time, the globe theory, pseudo words, and you can all see how these recent scientific discoveries were already mentioned thousands of years ago in the Bhagavatam. So you can see how science is well incorporated in the Bhagavatam. Radhe Radhe. And thank you, Ramuji, for taking your time and effort to listen to my presentation.
Ritvik very beautifully explained 4 important topics of science in Bhagavatam: measurement, time, and also pseudo words, and the globe theory of how the globe is a flattened sphere or rather elliptical. And it was a lovely research work done by him. He has listened to a lot of lectures, and he has also talked with Pramana, which is very important. He said this sloka, this chapter has that fact here. Very good work done by Ritvik to talk about how Bhagavatam, because it's a divine Shastram, has told the truth, and scientists are catching up with the facts. Very, very nice work and very crisply presented by Ritvik. Well done, Ritvik. It was a joy to all of us here listening here. Thank you.
Radhe Radhe, Ritvik. I represent on to the next student, creation from Bhagavad. Arjun.
Radhe Radhe, I'm Arjun Arunachalam from Capel, Texas. I'm in grade 6. I'm 12 years old. So the process of creation goes in cycles: creation, destruction, creation, destruction. But this time, destruction, there was it flooded the whole universe. So there is nothing except water in the universe. Lord Vishnu had acquired the form of a very large golden egg, Hiranyandam, and floated in the water. Lord Vishnu went into yogic sleep and asked Kalam, which means time, to wake him up at the appropriate time. When the time came, Kalam woke up Lord Vishnu in the form of Hiranyandam. The Hiranyandam was split into 14 pieces, and Lord Vishnu created the 14 different worlds. He took a form Virat Swarupam with 1,000 arms and filled the 14 worlds. This is Virat Swarupam. Creation. Lord Vishnu's first creation was intelligence, buddhi. Next, he created ego, or feeling of the self. The three gunas, sattvam, rajas, and tamas, were created for the world to exist. He created sound, shabdam, space, akasham, touch or sense, sparsham, air, vayu, and form, rupam, was created from air. Creation of Lord Brahma. Lord Vishnu decided it was time to create different life forms. A lotus appeared from the navel of Lord Vishnu. Within the lotus appeared Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma looked all around him and wondered where he came from. He looked in all 4 directions and obtained 4 faces in each direction. Lord Brahma meditated on Lord Vishnu for 100 divine years. Finally, Lord Brahma saw Lord Vishnu lying on the serpent Adisesha in Vaikuntham. From Lord Vishnu's navel, he saw a lotus and saw himself seated in the lotus. Then he realized that Lord Vishnu was the creator of everything in the universe. So this is Brahma sitting on the lotus, and this is Lord Vishnu. Creation of the world. Lord Vishnu had asked Lord Brahma to create the world. However, Lord Brahma did not know how to do it, and again he meditated on the Lord. The Lord appeared before him with 4 hands holding the lotus, conch, gada, and chakra, and goddess Lakshmi Devi on his chest. Lord Vishnu gave Chatursloki Bhagavatam to Lord Brahma and asked him to follow the principles in the slokas while creating the world. This is also the form that Bhagavatam was given by Lord Brahma to his son, sage Narada. Lord Brahma's creation. Lord Brahma prayed to Lord Vishnu and started the creation. Once his mind was purified, 4 boys came from his mind. The boys were so purified that Lord Vishnu that they only wanted to pray to Lord Vishnu and not do anything else. However, Lord Brahma wanted to follow the instructions of Lord Vishnu. Hence, he created 11 more sons for different parts of his body. And the parts were lap, heart, big toe, skin, hand, navel, ears, face, eyes, mind, and shadow. And they helped Brahma create the world. This is Lord Brahma. And this is the end of my presentation. And I would like to thank Ramuji, the Atlanta audience, all my EGK teachers for listening to my presentation.
Very good. Arjun very beautifully showed us a very difficult topic, very difficult to understand and very difficult to explain, but he did a very good job in representing what Bhagavatam says as it is, and being a very intricate topic, he didn't miss any point, and in a very concise way, he has presented it very beautifully. So it was a source of great delight to all of us to hear Arjun explain a difficult topic like creation and Srishti in a very sweet and a simple way. Well done, Arjun. Great job.
Thank you, Ramuji. Now we welcome Kishori to present her next topic.
Radhe Radhe everybody, Radhe Radhe Ramji. My name is Kishori Prakash. I am from Dallas, Texas, and today I will be sharing what I learned about poetry in Bhagavatam. So I bet all of you guys have like at least heard of poetry, and you guys know what poetry is, but this is just like the dictionary definition. So poetry is basically expression of your feelings in a verse form, and it uses figurative and creative language. So it's not what you normally say when you talk. That's not exactly poetry. It's the use of creative and figurative language. So how is poetry shown in our Bhagavatam? So poetry usually is in verse form, right? So, and the entire Bhagavatam is in verse form, which makes the entire thing a large poem. And some specialties of the poetry in Bhagavatam is its connotation, which is like going beyond the dictionary definition. Its insight, its diction. The language itself is Sanskritam, which is a beautiful language, and it's given by God himself. So I'm going to be showing you guys one specific verse in Bhagavatam, and it's in the Venugitam. Barha pitam natavara vapuhu karnayo karnikaram vipratvasaha kanaka kapisham vaijayantim chamala randradveno radara sudaya purayan gopa vrindehi vrindaranyam swapadaramanam bravishatyita kirtihi. So what this verse is saying is that about the beautiful description of Lord Krishna when he's getting ready for his flute arangetram, as Ramuji said in his lecture, which is basically what Venugitam is. And it's describing the entire scene and how beautiful Krishna looks and what exactly he's wearing. So I'll show you the words and their exact meanings. So Barha Pitam, it's a peacock feather as the decoration of his head. Natavara Vapuhu, of the best dancers, the transcendental body. Karnayo Karnikaram, on his ears is a particular kind of blue lotus-like flower. Bipratvasaha, wearing garments. Vaijayantim chamala, and he's wearing a Vaijayanti mala. Our sage Vyasa has so specifically chosen the perfect words to describe our Krishna, and it's when you like listen to the sloka, see it paints such a beautiful picture, and you can imagine exactly what Krishna looks like because of his beautiful diction. So my analyzation. Sanskrit and Vyasa's diction simply cannot be put into English meaning. That one sloka itself has so much meaning and symbolism packed into it. Each and every word is carefully picked and describes Bhagavan to the core, though the meaning is in English. And when we had our special presenter in E-Gopa, Gayatri, she told us about how sloka is known as the print. If anyone chants this sloka, they will get prema. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you guys a modern day poem. So this is a poem by Tupac, and it's called The Rose That Grew from Concrete. Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's law, it is wrong. It learned how to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from concrete when no one else ever cared. So this sloka is, this poem is obviously in English, and it's pretty straightforward, and it can be interpreted in many ways. And well, its meaning is known to every question. Okay, so now like the comparison between our sloka and Bhagavatam and this poem. So our Bhagavatam is in Sanskrit. It has so much meaning. It's written billions of years ago and given by God himself. Many divine figures it was passed on from God to Brahma to Narada to Sage Vyasa, to Sage Shuka, then to Parikshit, and it's been passed on to so many divine figures. And only some people can read and understand it, like those who can read Sanskrit. And this poem is in English. It has deep meaning, but not as much symbolism and complication as our Bhagavatam. Decade. It's been written by a normal human being, and like literally, if you just search it up on Google, it'll come up. Everyone can read it. Yes, it can be read and understood by everyone. And there's so many more differences from our day poem and our ancient Srimad Bhagavatam. There's so our poetry in Bhagavatam is so unique and there's so many beautiful, and that concludes my presentation. So I would like to thank, first and foremost, our Guruji. Then I would like to thank Ramuji and Purnimaji for all their discourses and teaching us about all the. I would like to thank all my teachers in E-Gopa for helping me with this project and giving me this opportunity, and as well as our guest speaker Gayatri Ji for coming in and teaching us about Prema. Lastly, I would like to thank everyone watching my presentation for ideas. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, Kishori had done a very nice and original venture where she has taken one of the most beautiful lines in Bhagavatam, Prema Mantram or Prema Sukhaprada Mantram. And she also compared it with a modern poem which she studies in her school or maybe at her leisure. And so it's a very nice way to actually bring more life into Bhagavatam by comparing it with what we do day in and day out. And I think it's a very commendable attempt, very beautifully presented by Kishori to appreciate our Bhagavatam in light of what we study and what we do day in and day out. Well done, Kishori. Your point about the depth, the connotation, and its beauty is well taken by all of us. And all the very best. And thank you for a lovely, innovative treat about comparing our old a modern one. Well done.
Thank you, Ramaji. Now Anirudh can start his presentation.
Radhe Radhe Purya Shri Ramaji Mama, Shri Ram Ramanujamji Uncle, Rekanti, teachers and everyone. My name is Anirudh Dayar and I am an 8th grade. I live in California and today I am going to talk about a few scenery descriptions from Srimad Bhagavatam. I'd like to begin with my invocation to Guruji. Satguranath Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavatam, a moksha grantham, describes the world as a maya and instructs common man to perform nama sankirtanam, to destroy and remove the veil of darkness or kali from the mind. Chapter 20 of the 10th canto describes the autumn and rainy season of Vrindavana and compares the common man's state or avastha to the various seasons, which I will present now as it alludes to man and his ego and the supreme being in this world of maya. Sandra Ninambude Vyoma Savidyutstana Yitnubi Apashra Jyotirachanam Brahmiva Sagunam Babau.
You cannot see his screen. Share the screen.
Lightning is like being in a state of goodness, thunder being in a state of passion, and clouds being in a veil of ignorance. The cloudy sky in the rainy season.
Radhe Radhe, Srividya, just have this and continue doing the presentation. Please don't go into the full screen mode. It's making some issues.
Okay.
Go ahead, Anirudh.
Lightning is like being in a state of goodness, thunder being in a state of passion, and clouds being in a veil of ignorance. The cloudy sky in the rainy season is like the pure soul disturbed by the modes of nature that cover the soul. The original brilliant nature is only dimly reflected through the hazy cover of the material qualities. Thus, clouds, rain, and thunder are brilliantly described to represent the states of mind and ignorance of man. निशामुखेषु कद्योतास् तमसा बन्ति नाग्रहा यथा पापेन पाषण्डा नाहि वेद करो युगे. In this sloka, glowworms are compared with stars. In the autumn season, the glowworms are predominant and obscure the stars. Similarly, the cloud of Kali obscures Vedic Dharma. The atheists and miscreants are prominently visible like the glowworms. Just like with the clearing of the cloud, the luminaries become visible. The path of Nama Sankirtanam, advocated by our Guruji, will make our inner self clear away the clouds of this materialistic world. Krishna Bhakti Rita Subham. Just as autumn clears the sky of clouds and turns the sky to its blue color, that's the Anu has altered the clouded living conditions, cleans the earth of its covering of mud. In the Vanaprastha stage, a man is relieved from his duties as a householder. Just as autumn purifies water of contamination, in the same way that loving service rendered to Lord Krishna frees the mind in the sannyasa stage, as one sings the glories of Lord Krishna. These are a few natural scenic descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam that relate to the common man by providing simple analogies. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Kresha Dikataras Tesham Avyayakta Sakta Setasham. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Lord, advancement is exceedingly painful. But as soon as a sannyasi takes to preaching the glories of Lord Krishna in every town and village, his life becomes a blissful sequence of beautiful and spiritual realizations. Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas Tam Namami Harim Param. I'd like to thank everyone, Ramanujamji uncle, for listening to my presentation, and everyone else who listened to my presentation. Radhe Radhe.
Well done. Anirudh, it's very timely that when California is facing the maximum storm and rain in the last 25 years, you talk about rainy season in Srimad Bhagavatam. And you very beautifully brought in one of the best poetic pieces in Bhagavatam, where Shuka Muni compares every aspect of rainy season to some aspect of spirituality. You have done a very lovely compilation and you presented it also very well. I particularly like the way in which you invoked Swamiji's blessing when you started the presentation. I think it's something we all of us can emulate. Thank you, Anirudh, for a lovely and an in-depth presentation about rainy season and its reference in Bhagavatam. Well done.
Radhe Radhe Prithvi.
Radhe Radhe all. My name is Prithvi. I'm in 9th grade. I live in Dallas, Texas. My topic is geography in Bhagavatam. In pre-scientific times, people thought that the earth was flat. They were even so naive to think that if they moved near the edge, they may fall off into deep space. Also, to make things more complex, different religions and scriptures each had their own visual of how the earth looked like. All this confused people and they didn't know what to believe. It took 16 centuries for scientists to prove the earth was a sphere. In 350 BC, a Greek philosopher, Eratosthenes, used the principle of sticks and shadows to prove the earth was round, but no one believed him. In 1522, a Spanish explorer, Ferdinand Magellan, got in a boat and went around the earth, and he returned to the same place where he started, conclusively proving that the earth is round. Around the same time, Copernicus used the principle of ships and the horizon to prove the earth was round. The Srimad Bhagavatam was composed in Dwapar Yuga, which is before even the present Kali Yuga. It has multiple references to a phrase called Bhugola. Bhu means earth, Gola means round. Therefore, the meaning of this phrase is round earth. Here are two slokas in which the phrase Bhugola is mentioned. In the 5th canto, 16th chapter, and 4th sloka, it says, Purishas tasmat pradhan yenaiva bhugolakam visesham. Also, in the 5th canto, 25th chapter, 12th sloka, it says, Bhugolam sagiri sarit samudra sattvam. This shows that our ancient Hindu sadhus were aware that the earth is round much before it was proven to be round by the Western scientists. Not only does Srimad Bhagavatam talk about the shape of the earth, it also expounds greatly on the structure of the universe. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, in the universe there are 14 worlds, 7 upper and 7 lower. The upper worlds are like Satyaloka, where Brahma lives, and the lower worlds are like Sutala, where Bali lived. Earth is in the middle, in a place called Bhumandala. Srimad Bhagavatam divides Bhumandala into 7 dvipas, which when roughly mapped out would equal 7 continents. India's in the centermost dvipa, Jambu Dvipa, whereas America is in a slightly outer dvipa called Kramcha Dvipa. The dvipas are further divided into other units called varshas. India is located in Jambu Dvipa is the whole of Asia, while India is located at the bottommost varsha, Bharatavarsha. In Kramcha Dvipa, America is located in a varsha called Hiranyavarsha. Conclusion. Due to all these facts, Srimad Bhagavatam is a timeless treasure full of precious knowledge. The saints who composed Srimad Bhagavatam have been able to predict things much earlier than they were proven in the Western Hemisphere. This shows the greatness of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you, Ramaji, for your time, and thank you, EGK teachers, for putting in the effort to improve my presentation.
Prithvi very beautifully summarized the geography in Bhagavatam and quoting the slokas very beautifully to show that Bhagavatam very beautifully is called all the others in the rest of the world took 16 centuries to understand that. Prithvi made a very forceful and a lovely point, and it is not surprise because his name itself is Prithvi. So obviously he knows the geography of this Prithvi very well. Excellent presentation and very good work by Prithvi to showcase the greatness of our Bhagavata Puran. Well done, Prithvi. Thank you.
Radhe Arvind.
Okay, Radhe Ramuji, and Radhe to all the viewers. My name's Arvind Arunachalam. I'm 16 years old. I'm in 11th grade, and I'm from Coppell, Texas. And my topic is Srimad Bhagavatam versus Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so I'm going to go into the first difference between Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So the first obvious difference between the two of them is that they both have two different focuses. So Bhagavatam mainly focuses on how to practice devotion in the Kali Yuga, and it first states that Nama Sankirtanam is the greatest way for devotees to practice devotion in the Kali Yuga, and then it gives tales of several devotees of Krishna to prove that Nama Sankirtanam is the best way. It's not the best way, but it's the easiest way to pray to Lord Krishna in the Kali Yuga. But Bhagavad Gita isn't so much as concerned with prayer as it is concerned with the whole process of life, and it mainly speaks about the goal of attaining salvation at the end of life at Krishna's feet. So it basically describes the samsaric cycle of life and death. And it gives, and it basically states that while we're living in the world, we're always susceptible to worldly pleasures and pains. So we're constantly going to get hurt. So it says that the only way for us to escape this pain is to achieve the dissolution of the soul, which basically means separating, the feelings of our soul from the feelings of our body. And the 3-step process to doing so, as described by Bhagavad Gita, is for renunciation of worldly pleasures, then to do selfless service, and then to do meditation on Bhagavan. And Bhagavad Gita says if we do those 3 things and we do the duties that Bhagavan has prescribed to us, we'll eventually attain a state of divine yoga. Now, the second difference between the two of them is that they both have 2 very different stories of how they came into existence. So Srimad Bhagavatam was written by Veda Vyasa, but it really came into prominence to the human race, really because of Sage Sri Shuka and King Parikshit. So the story is very interesting. So what happened was that King Parikshit, he was the grandson of Arjuna. He was hunting in the forest, but then and he went to greet one saint, but then he tried to greet that saint, but the saint didn't respond because he was in a state of deep meditation. And King Parikshit was offended, so he took a dead snake and draped it around that sage's neck. And that sage he woke up and he was offended, so he cursed King Parikshit to die within 7 days. And of course, King Parikshit was very panicked. So he went to Sage Sri Shuka, and he asked, Sage Sri Shuka, what should I do? I only have 7 days to make sure that I end up at Bhagavan's feet when my life is over. And Sage Sri Shuka said the best thing to do is to listen to Srimad Bhagavatam. So Sri Shuka recited Srimad Bhagavatam to King Parikshit. And those 7 days is actually the basis of our Bhagavata Saptaham, because it took 7 days for Sage Sri Shuka to give King Parikshit Bhagavatam. And that's why our Bhagavata Saptahams today are 7 days long. But on a different note, Bhagavad Gita was completely different because what happened in Bhagavad Gita was that we all know the story of the Mahabharata. And right before Arjuna and all the Pandavas were about to fight the Kauravas, Arjuna looked across the battlefield and he saw all of his Kaurava brothers, and he wondered to himself, how in the world could he fight against, his family? And he was completely prepared to just abandon the battle and go become a yogi. But then Lord Krishna, he gave Arjuna Bhagavad Gita to convince him that that since he was a Kshatriya, that fighting the war was his duty, and that in order to achieve salvation at the end of life, that we must always obey what Bhagavan has told us to do. And he managed to get Arjuna to fight the war. And the final difference between Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam is that Srimad Bhagavatam is one of the 18 Puranas. It's 18,000 verses long. It's considered the essence of the Vedas. Meanwhile, Bhagavad Gita is 700 verses long, and it's considered to be the essence of all the Upanishads. Now, the difference in length between the two is actually due to the circumstances. Bhagavad Gita was given on the battlefield right before Arjuna was going to fight the war. So obviously, it couldn't be very long because there was still a battle to fight. So Krishna was very concise. But Srimad Bhagavatam, it's a Purana, so it's supposed to be a fountain of knowledge. So it went far more in depth. And actually, it said that Bhagavad Gita gave Arjuna a set of morals. Like one of the morals was, for example, don't be attached to your body. But Srimad Bhagavatam's format was to take each moral that Bhagavad Gita gave to Arjuna and give a story to go along with it. And that's why the two of them have such different lengths and different formats as well. And I'm finally going to talk about the similarities between the two. Now, it's obvious that Krishna plays a big role in both texts. So in Bhagavad Gita, of course, Krishna is giving, he's the one discoursing all the knowledge to Arjuna on the way to live life and on the way to escape worldly pleasures. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, he also plays a major role as well, because the whole of the 10th canto is devoted to all of the Leelas of Krishna. And also, since Srimad Bhagavatam is talking about the greatness of Nama Sankirtanam, it gives many examples of devotees of Krishna or of Vishnu in order to prove that that's correct. And a few examples are Dhruva, Prahalada, Gajendra, and Kunti. It gives, so a lot of Srimad Bhagavatam is dedicated to Krishna's life and the devotees of Krishna. And that leads me on to the next point, which is that they both give advice about how to live a certain aspect of life. Of course, Srimad Bhagavatam is concerned mainly with prayer and how to practice devotion in the Kali Yuga, but Bhagavad Gita is more concerned with finding a way to renounce all worldly pleasures, and it's more concerned with how to live the whole of life correctly so that we can end up at Bhagavan's feet. And that's of course leads me to the last point, which is that both of the texts, regardless of what they emphasize or what they say, they both emphasize that the only way to reach true happiness and the only way to reach the ultimate salvation is to reach Krishna's feet, and that's the only way to escape the painful cycle of life and death. So that's my presentation, and I'd like to thank Ramuji for watching, and all of the EGK teachers for teaching me, and all the viewers as well. Radhe Radhe.
our Arvind very beautifully brought in the compare and contrast between two important Shastras for us. One is Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. As our Swamiji used to say, Bhagavad Gita is voice of Krishna. Bhagavatam is Krishna himself. And Arvind did a very nice thinking. He has put a lot of thought on it to talk about the structure, context, and also the purpose of these two Shastras. Very well done, very originally done by Arvind. And he also brought in the most important similarity, which is finally we need to attain Krishna Charana. Very good, Arvind. Very, very, very pleasing and a very well thought out presentation by you. All the very best. And thank you for sharing this with all of us.
And our last presentation by Purush. Thank you.
My presentation is about Radhe Radhe. I'm Purush Ram. I'm from Redding, California. I'm 13 years old and I'm in 8th grade. And today you're all going to hear my presentation about the future of the world as per Srimad Bhagavatam. Shri Shuko Vacha Tataschanu Dinam Dharma Satyam Saukam Shama Daya Kalena Balina Rajan Nangshatya Ayurbalam Smriti. This sloka is from Srimad Bhagavatam in the 12th canto. And it says that the humans will, their memory, physical strength, righteousness, and all other qualities that they have will diminish day by day because of Kali. For instance, in the Dwapara Yuga, you see that it's very easy for humans to take tapas like Arjuna when he goes up to the forest. But now, as the days go, we can't even dream of doing that. It's a legend now. Lingam eva smakyata vanam yapati karanam avartyanyaya daurbalyam panditya chapalam vachaha. This sloka, also from the 12th canto, says that external marks like Gopi Chandan will say that will be the only factor of your 4 stages of life. And if you praise someone, if you give a word of praise to someone, just saying, "Oh, you're awesome," that'll be considered a great mark of respect instead of prostrating to them. And judgment, let's say in a court of law, when you only say the truth like verbally, judgment will fade away and they will all believe it without evidence. And one who can just juggle around words very cleverly will be considered a scholar, for he can trick your mind, but not truthfully. Anadyate va sudutve sadutve damba eva tu shikara eva chodvahe jnanam eva prasadanam. This sloka says that a person who's declared unholy is probably because he does not have money. This is in Kali. And giving pomp and show and false advertisement is also accepted as a virtue. And just by mutual and verbal consent, marriage will be arranged. And there will not be any looking at both families. They will just decide. And also one will be considered holy just by sprinkling normal water, tap water, or regular water on himself. Kale doshanide rajan asti eko mahagunaha kirtinad eva krishnasya muktasanga param vrajet. Although Kari is the worst yuga to be in, there's still the best virtue about it. By chanting the names of Hari, you'll be free from bondage and attain the supreme abode. Now we have a recap with a video. Before Kali, people were very focused in penance and righteous living, like this sadhu here. While in Kali, people are very focused in food and entertainment for themselves, like this kid. A simple word of praise will be considered a great mark of respect. Although Kali is a very bad place to be, there's still one good virtue. Chant the names of Hari and you'll be free. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Radhe Radhe. Excellent, excellent Purush. I really like the title also, Yikes. Kali is yikes. Huh? To make yikes into likes, you have to chant the name of Hari. Very good. You have done a lovely presentation and you added an innovation with a small video. And also you have taken 12th canto to talk about the current trends of what is happening. And it's a lovely presentation. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Well done. And thanks for taking the time, all of you, for spending, doing a little research, do a lovely presentation. I really, really wish that Guruji was here. He would have been very, very proud and happy to see you spend so much of energy to understand what our Guruji holds the most sacred, and that which our Guruji holds something very beloved. And you all spent your time trying to do some research on something which is close to our Guruji's heart. Truly a tribute to the hard work by your parents, by your E-Gopa Kutiram teachers, and also you yourself for spending the time. And I'm sure Guruji is very pleased with what we have done today. I will quickly send a summary to Guruji, and I'm sure he will bless us all with more and more of such kainkariams. It is very evident that E-Gopa Kutiram is really delivering the goods. I truly pray to our lotus feet of Guruji that it grows from 35 to 108 by next year, and then the digits keeps adding. Okay. So all the very best for E-Gopa Kutiram teachers and the management. All the best for all the lovely youngsters who have put in so much efforts. I join our Atlanta satsang in congratulating and feeling, showing our happiness with all the presentations. Well done.
Thank you, Ramaji, on behalf of our EGK teachers and students for spending your valuable time with us. Thank you for encouraging these kids with your positive feedback. And we pray to our Guru Maharaj Lotus Feet that we get this opportunity with you every year. Thank you, Raghuji and Kishorji, for arranging Zoom from Atlanta. Thank you, Houston Shriramji, for giving these wonderful topics and guiding students with the presentation. Thank you, students and parents, for cooperating with us and with these multiple practice sessions. Thank you so much, Radhe Radhe.
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 Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe.
சூப்பரா நடந்ததுல